Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms. And I'm joined here, as always, with my partner in crime, Jake Circus from the Jake Circus podcast. And this is the week 15
Let's
preview.
go.
Yeah, who day. All right. And Jake is actually gonna be at the game this week.
Yeah, I'm
So
excited. I've never been to a game in Tampa, so I'll see what the fan base is like. But it should be a fun one. I'm excited.
well, hopefully you only hear the cannon when they get a junk score at the end. You don't have to hear. Do they blow the cannon on field goals too, or just touchdowns?
I think it's just touchdowns. I could be wrong though. I have no idea. That's a complete guess.
All right.
But
So
we'll
yeah,
see.
hopefully you don't hear it. You don't hear it too often. Um, but
Yep.
yeah, this is so we're gonna do what we usually do. We're gonna talk about a little bit of news, and then we're gonna do the things we're feeling good about, not feeling good about, and on the news front, obviously the injuries are gonna take. We'll go through the injury report in a second. But did you happen to read or see the Manning cast on Monday?
I did. It was kind of hard to watch. Like
Yeah,
I
I
obviously like not because of Burrow, but like it didn't really look like Burrow really wanted to be there.
I thought he was kind of, they had him on, they have him on Zoom. I guess he's just sitting there on the screen.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't get that vibe, but I thought it was funny when Peyton brought up, the tip balls.
That
Because
that that, that was funny. That
yeah,
was
when
funny.
he says so Burrow says, yeah, that should be a 15-yard penalty batting
Yeah,
the ball down.
exactly.
So and then Eli came up with something creative. He said he thought that the quarterback should be allowed to pick the ball up and pass it again. He said that should be a new rule in the game. So, it's like, listen, you're like sitting there watching it with those two clowns, those two brothers. Peyton and Eli are actually, I find them entertaining. I don't
Yeah,
watch
sure.
the game that way, but I'll go back and watch the segment. So, if you want to, it's up on YouTube. You can see, I think they have the 10 or 12 minutes. Burrow was just there for the first quarter. So, it's a 10 or 12 minutes that he's on, but you can catch that on YouTube. But I thought it was very entertaining. So, and then obviously Pratt's email or his tweet that he took down because he wants to play third downs. And I was a whole bout of nothing. I don't think that this takes on any legs in the locker room or anything. I think Pratt's loved, and it was just one of those, he doesn't want to go out on third down. I get it. Just, say it to the coach. You don't have to put that on Twitter. But
Yeah, I mean it seems like P's gonna leave in the offseason, which is fine. It's you know, as the Bengals keep getting better, fans are gonna fall in love with a lot of players, but really when you're a really good team for 5 to 7 year stretch, players are gonna come and go and the rosters are gonna be built differently. And Jermaine Pratt fits into that perfectly. He's probably gonna leave and get a nice payday from a worse team who really needs him, and then it'll just be next man up. I mean, the Bengals completely reshaped their linebacker room in like a span of 3 months. It was pretty
right,
cool that they did that. That was like the fans' complaints forever was how bad the linebackers were, and Pratt was actually, ironically enough, the first one,
right,
first guy that this new staff added. He
yeah,
was he was actually Zach Taylor's first defensive pick on defense, or
yeah.
his first draft pick on defense was Jermaine Pratt, if I'm not mistaken.
No, and he's played well. He's got a great motor. We love the guy, but we've got a lot of people we have to pay.
Yeah,
And
actually, I take
Pratt's
that back.
and
He was
Pratt's
drafted
down
in
the
20.
list.
I take that back. He was drafted in 2018, not 19. So he was
Okay.
he was a Marvin Lewis guy, but
So it was one of the last. Yeah.
yeah, he was one of yeah.
So, but no, but there's a lot of guys to pay, and Burrow and Chase are ahead of him, and Higgins, and
Well,
so
yeah. I mean, yeah.
yeah,
He's an off-ball linebacker. He's probably gone.
yeah.
But
So it
they
is
know it
what it
is.
is. But all right. Well, let's get into the. That's all I had on news. Did you have anything else on the news?
No, I mean the injury report's pretty loaded. That's kind of
Yeah.
what we'll be talking about. A
Okay.
ton of impact players on both sides who are basically coin flips at this point, whether or not they're going to play,
Yeah.
including I think the best right tackle in football, and Tristan Wirfs, who might not play in this game.
Right. No. It's a and before I forget, I'm remiss. Tell them where they can find all your stuff because you do multiple podcasts. You do a gambling one. It's
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Jake Circus. That's Cirkus. Also go to Spotify for the Jake Circus podcast. Did a gambling show last week with a buddy of mine who works for Bleacher Report Betting, and the card that we gave out went 10-3. So another strong week in
hey,
the gambling department. So that was really good.
so
And I post all my picks on Twitter for free. We're at 58% against the spread this year. and it's all for free. So
There you go.
make sure to
Hey,
look out for that.
there you have it. So definitely you check that out.
And I will say this: one of my three losses on the week was the Browns +6. That was one of three games I lost.
Yeah,
Took the
I didn't.
Browns.
I was all over the Bengals. I really liked the Bengal pick last week. I told you, and I did the Bengal Buffalo, teased.
I did do that parlay.
Yeah.
I
So
told you
which
that. So I the one where I told you I was rolling. I had been rolling it over. Like I started with $50 in free play and I kept rolling it over. We are still alive.
good. Keep that
Still alive.
going. Come on, that helps pay student loans.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's it. Hey, they don't care how they get paid back. So, lottery
Exactly.
money, gambling money, they don't care. They just want to
Oh
get
yeah.
paid back. So, all right, well, let's go through. And if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Just support the channel. So hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up. It helps us out a lot in the algorithm and the analytics. So please hit the thumbs up for us. But let's go through this loaded injury report, and it is a lot. I'm assuming Collins played today. He didn't practice yesterday. He did practice today. Trey Hendrickson, no surprise. I don't think we see him this week. I think he's probably although none of our injuries, we were very fortunate. None of the injuries we suffered are going to put anybody on the IR. So it's not like these are going to be 3-4 week injuries. They're going to be less than that. So I don't
I feel like
expect
Hendrickson might even come back for the Buffalo game. No?
yeah,
Maybe?
you know what? He played. This injury occurred in like the third quarter. He played the whole end of the game with this wrist.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a situation where they're gonna just look at him and say, "All right, let's just get you rested for the first round of the playoffs." Um, yeah, like it's very quite possible he could just say, "Fuck you, I want to play." That's just kind of who he is.
Right.
So, so we'll see. I doubt he plays this week. It doesn't really seem like that's a possibility. And then next week against New England, we'll see.
We'll
Zach
see.
Zach isn't really known for his explanations for injuries. He's very
Well, you know what? Take it from the master. Belichick was great at
oh yeah.
yeah, okay, sure. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean just giving out no information.
Yep.
So it's gamesmanship. Mike Hilton was hurt in the game early on, went out, and then came back in and played the whole rest of the game. He hasn't practiced the last 2 days, but I'm assuming, and I'm making an assumption here, that that's precautionary, that they're just resting him because the injury that happened, he
Yeah,
came
he
back in
played
the
too.
game.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good that none of these injuries, that, like we said, are long term and that they're really day to day. I mean, Zach put Boyd as day to day, who's been limited. Higgins was also day to day. I mean, Higgins should play.
Right.
Um, so like they're all like it's December. Teams are banged up, and it's the only player that we've really lost long term is Awuzie, which really sucks. But feel like they're better without him. Crazy to say, but they're playing. Everyone has stepped up. I'm not saying they're better with
Right.
Awuzie on the shelf, but everybody has stepped up, and that's been awesome to see. That's just another confirmation of really how good this team is. It has been next man up all year. Losing Reader, they treaded water, and then he came back, and you know, same thing
Reader's
with
Reader, man. Oh,
yeah,
one of our best signings. He and Hendrickson.
yeah, yeah. I
That
mean,
franchise changing.
sure,
You know. So
absolutely.
Hayden Hurst. I hear he's doubtful, probably out again. Um, I think we missed him last week. I mean, you looked at Burrow looking for that short dump off pass, and I think we missed Hurst, but I think I don't know that he plays this week. So and we'll get into this in a second. Tyler Boyd, from what I understand, the bone came through the skin. It was a real nasty injury, and he actually wanted to come back in. You saw it. He was the second play of the game. Burrow tries to get the ball to him, and you saw him pull his hand back and immediately go out, and that was it. I mean, we didn't see him again. So, but I understand he wanted to come back in. It was kind of a gruesome injury. He's willing to do whatever it takes. I love Boyd. I mean, he like I said, he knew Higgins was out because the hammy that he pulled at in warmups. So he wanted to get back in because he felt the team needed him. So how much
You
you love
remember
about
when
him?
in the famous tank for Tua game, the Dolphins Bengals game from 20 I guess that would have been 2019 when the Bengals, like all the fans wanted them to lose the game because if they lost, they clinched the number one pick.
Right.
and they didn't have to lose to Cleveland the next week. And the Bengals were really trying to win. And on the last play of the game, Boyd like crawled, like he tore something or like had a huge cramp, and he just like crawled back to the sideline. It was just like he's the man. Everyone
Yeah,
loved him.
he's a gamer, man. The guy's anything for the team. And the last thing I wanted to talk about on our injury report, obviously, I expect to see Higgins this week. That was a pregame. He could have come in. They decided they didn't need him, and they kind of kept him out of Cleveland. But and he's been limited in practice. So I
Yeah, there should be no reason why he doesn't go.
yeah. So
I would
we'll
say.
get him back. Rest Boyd another week. Rest Hurt. Not play Hurst. And I probably
Sure.
not Hendrickson, but I'm expecting Hilton to be in. Their injury report, like I said, you touched on it right away. They have a key piece of the offensive line that probably won't play. So that's Tampa Bay we're talking about.
Yeah, Tampa's offensive line hasn't really been good this year, period. They're really young, including Wirfs. He's like the best, but they're really, really young. Ali Marpet retired, obviously. What's his face is with us now.
Which one? The guard we took?
Kappa, like
Yes,
obviously
Kappa.
Kappa's with sorry.
Yep.
Obviously Kappa's with us now. Donovan Smith, I think he's still there, but he's really old. Like they're like in a completely different place in terms of offensive line than where they were when they were like a top team. And if Wirfs doesn't go, that's just immediate advantage Bengals, even though Trey Hendrickson is not on the field this week.
Yeah, well, we have now Joseph Osai. I don't even see him on the injury report. But he was out, but I think I saw he was nursing a shoulder, if I'm not mistaken. But maybe it didn't print. Maybe mine got truncated. What do you have on Osai? But I think he practiced today, and that's a good thing because we're going to be looking for him and Sample to step up and fill, platoon in with Hubbard and fill that void by Hendrickson. So, but I saw that we had him. I think he practiced today. Mine didn't print. It kind of chopped me off on the
Yeah,
next
I
page.
think he did. I feel like I would have heard other things if he hadn't,
Yeah, yeah, no, and it
because
was
he's kind of a big deal. But yeah, yeah. But outside of Hendrickson, it's Asai, it's Hubbard, and it's Cam Sample. So I have confidence that, again, next man up. There's a couple of guys on the lower parts of the depth chart who also will get some important snaps, a la Zach Carter, who has been awful this year, but he only played like 20 snaps. And in the secondary, Dax Hill too, because I think some of the backup corners are also on the injury report, so they're
right.
not just 100% going into this one. So obviously, Cam Taylor Britt has been really, really good.
Who's been playing
And
better. He looks better and better every single week. These are such valuable weeks going
oh
into
yeah,
the postseason and then going into next year when we have Awuzie back and Brett, you
yeah.
know?
I mean,
So-
this draft class and last year's with Sample, um, obviously McPherson, they've done a really good job, like
Yeah.
completely rebuilding this team.
Yeah. So so I think we're gonna be okay. So let's talk about there are a couple things I have that I'm concerned about. And number one is Tampa Bay desperately needs this game. I mean, they really do. I mean, they're in a situation now that if Carolina wins out, they're not going to win the division. So, I mean, it's
Yeah,
that simple. Carolina controls their own destiny. So, I mean, they've lost too many of these early games, but I have, my opinion is they're going to keep losing. I don't see them beating us this week unless we do something stupid, but we'll get into that. The other thing that bothers me is just this week and next week are kind of trap games. I mean, they really are. If you're focusing on Buffalo and Baltimore ending the year, but this team's been really good about not falling into that. I don't think we lost to Cleveland because it was a trap game. We lost to Cleveland because we screwed up. It's our last loss because we're on this winning streak. But this week and next week they've got to stay focused because these are two games we need to punch the tickets. Heck, New England next week, all we got to do is put up 21 points. I mean, that offense can't score. So, but these are a couple weeks where we don't want to give these away. We want to punch these in, stay on the Ravens, and see what happens.
yeah. This Tampa team, this game is very similar to the Tennessee game because it's going to be ugly, and the Bengals will not score many points. I don't think. I don't think Burrow's going to have a Brock Purdy where he just throws 4 touchdowns in the first half. That's just not what they've done. That's not how they try to win games. It's fine.
Right.
Um, but this Tampa offense is dreadful. They're 27th in points per game. They're 25th in yards per play. This is a bad offense that is coached poorly, and the players are playing very poorly, including their quarterback, who at times this year has looked really good. He hasn't turned the ball over much, but there have been times like the entire game last week where he just looks. I mean, he was terrible. Like Brady was so bad in that Niners game. So it's tough spot wise because is Brady really gonna be that bad 2 weeks in a row? Probably not. But the Bengals have way better weapons on the offense or on offense. And then when they're on defense, there's nothing that Tampa has shown this year that the Bengals haven't stopped. So it's just this isn't just the goat. We're gonna lose to the goat. This Tampa team's really bad. Like they're not. They're way off of what people thought that they were gonna be this year.
Oh yeah.
They're
At the beginning of the season, when Brady announced his retirement, the Tampa Bay line went to win the Super Bowl went to 22-1. Okay. And I said, oh, Brady's not retiring. He's not going to end on this note, this loss to the Rams. So I threw $50 on that. Okay. And then he came back out of retirement and the line went to like 4.5. And I haven't looked, but I would venture that the line is like 30-1. So I threw away $50. Obviously it's a spec bet, but yeah, I don't know even know if they're going to make the playoffs. It's certainly not a deep run. They can't beat the Eagles. They can't beat the Cowboys, so, but this was a team that, I mean, when Brady came back, they were like a 4-1, 5-1 bet all of a sudden to win the Super Bowl again. So, but it's been disappointing. He hasn't been on sync with Evans. I have Evans in my fantasy league. I haven't known when to start him and stop him. It's like I said, I don't understand how you lose the chemistry with a receiver you've been playing with for years.
yeah.
But apparently, they have. Losing Gronk was a huge thing for this offense. I mean, that was Brady's safety blanket.
And they've been very injured in terms of on the outside, in terms of receivers. They really have yet to. I mean, they brought in Julio Jones, who hasn't really done much. But Godwin and Evans have been just on and off the field. It's been a mess, but everyone's really healthy for them now. The problem is that they really like to run the ball, but they don't run the ball at all.
Yeah, but I don't think they have a line that can block from the run. I mean, everything starts with the offensive line. And we pilfered pieces. They have injuries. Jensen, who Brady called immediately when he came back and tried to get him to not, because we were scheduled to see Ryan Jensen. We were going to get him before Karros. Before we went and got Karros on New England as our center, we were going to look at and try to get Jensen, and he immediately re-signed when Brady came back.
And he's out for the year now.
And he's out. So like I said, they're decimated, but that concerns me because they're desperate. They have to have the game, and they were embarrassed last week. They didn't just lose. They were embarrassed, and teams typically rebound after being embarrassed. So these are all things that we just need to not go into this game thinking all we need to do is show up, because we need to. This is going to be a hard fought game. I 100% agree with you that this is like the Tennessee matchup. This is going to be, although they don't have Vrabel, but this is going to be a hard fought game. But in the end, I don't see them getting more than a touchdown. I got them down for, I give you here. I'm going to cheat and give you my score now. I got them 27-16. I have us for 3 touchdowns. I don't think they score more than 1.
I mean, they've struggled to score points against everybody. It's been this was the number 1 scoring offense in the league the last 2 seasons at over 30 points per game, and they're not even averaging 20 points a game this year. So it has been a fall from hell for this Tampa team, and I think a lot of the blame has to go on Byron Leftwich. I think he's done a really bad job with Bruce Arians. This was a vertically adequate team with a good quarterback, and they still have a good quarterback, and this offense is just so blah. I mean, they're not dynamic, they're not fast, they just look like they're really old, and now they don't even have a good offensive line anymore or a good run game. So it's just Brady working with, really bad pieces out there.
Right.
Even though they have, a Hall of Famer in Evans and they have a Pro Bowler in Godwin, they haven't really clicked like they had in past years since Brady left New England.
Yeah. Well, you could see Brady. I mean, even when Brady was younger, when the Ravens could rattle him in the postseason, they were the one team that, because they could get to Brady and rattle him and mess up his timing, that they could get to him. And that's when Brady was on the Patriots. So when he's pressured and rattled, he doesn't do well. I mean, he needs time. He's not a mobile guy. He's not, and he's old now. So it's still Tom Brady. He's still the GOAT. There's no question. But yeah, without his offensive line, he's really he's like Superman without his powers.
Oh yeah.
So that's just my favorite. All right. Well, I gave my score. I usually let you go first, but I went first and snuck that in there. So tell me what your score is on the game.
I went Bengals 20-17. I do think it's going to be close. I couldn't really get to the Bengals are going to blow them out. Tampa's defense is really good. They are going to be able to contain, I think, Chase, and we'll see if all three receivers play. But I think that they'll do a fine job against the run game, and we've seen the Bengals start slow way too many times. It's almost in Sharpie at this point. Bengals starting a big game slow. But I have 2017. I think they're the better coach team, which is ridiculous. And if you told me that the Bengals would be better coached than the Bucks this time last year, I'd have been like, "You're crazy." But that is the truth. They are
Oh,
way better coached at this point. I mean, I expect this staff to run circles around Todd Bowles' staff on Sunday. I'll tell you that.
yeah, no, I completely agree with you. This is a game. This is our game for the taking. The only one, I think our biggest obstacle is ourselves. We're going to have to do something to help Tampa Bay if we don't win this game. It's going to be because we did something to help them. They do not have the personnel or the coaching staff to scheme or come up with something. This is not Kyle Shanahan we're going up against. To scheme or come up with something that can beat us. That's not to say we can't lose this game. That's why we have to go in serious and take care of business. But I agree with you. It's gotten to the point to where I'll put a little action. I tease everything. I like teasers and money lines, but I tend to not. I'll put one bet on the spread, but typically with this team, I wait for the second half bet because you'll get a better, even if the Bengals are chasing, you get a better line. You can money line it with the Bengals -3 and be in a much better position. That's like getting the Bengals +3. So, I'll definitely, I've been
The line did move. The line did move to 4 earlier today. So be careful with the teasers and the Bengals, whatever. This is a trap game. It is. According to someone who I was watching a show earlier, and they were talking to some of the people who work for the sports books, it is the game that is played this year where it is the biggest gap in terms of where the tickets are and where the money is. So there's a super high amount of tickets on the Bengals, but all the money has come in on Tampa, which is a sign of really smart people betting Tampa in this game. So be careful. This is a trap. It was always going to be a trap. And there was some hesitation to move this line at 4, even though a lot of people were coming in on the Bengals, and it finally moved to 4. So if you like Tampa, you got a better number now. But if you
yeah,
like the Bengals, you had all the opportunities to get it when it was at 3 and 3.5, and now that's gone.
right. So, well, you can always buy the point down. You just got to pay a little more juice. That's all. So, all right. Well, we will be back. Jake will be at the game, so obviously he won't be part of our recap, but he can tell us next week how everything was. And did you give us a score? Oh, you did give us a score, 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah. So
Good guys.
I just don't, like I said, the biggest thing is that this is like a wild animal that's been cornered. They're dangerous because they're desperate. So that's my biggest concern. But hopefully we're blowing the victory horn, tooting the Mighty Ducks quacker, doing everything. I'm wearing my jerseys now on the preview shows because I have to wear this retro Delta O'Neal jersey because I wore this at the Panther game because I wanted to give props to the defense and then kept it going since we won and we haven't lost. So this has been 5 weeks in a row. This is my game day jersey. So I own like 50 jerseys and I'm wearing this old replica Delta O'Neal because it seems to have the mojo. So I figured, all right, you know what? I'll wear the white jersey today because I have to wear Delta on, which is Von Bell's number now, but it's still a Delta O'Neal jersey. So
Yep.
let's hope the jersey brings it home. We will have it ready for the week after. I'll work through the Super Bowl. Heck, I'll take this to Arizona with me and wear the one of the crappier jerseys quality wise that I have, because
There you go.
yeah, winner's a winner. So, Jake, go ahead, tell them where they can find all your stuff one more time.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Jake Circus. That's Sirkus for the last name. Pretty involved there. Gambling picks, Bengal stuff, and then my podcast, Jake Circus Podcast, on Spotify. Hit that up, at least an episode per week every single Monday, and then I try to get episodes Thursdays and Saturdays as well. Sometimes don't, but last week we had a good one, and next week we'll have one too. So look out for that. But yeah, happy to be on as always, and hopefully I can bring some good luck into Tampa with me.
Excellent. Well, go represent. Say hi to your dad. And hopefully you're watching a Bengal victory. And we'll be back. I will be here right after the game with a recap. And with that, I'm going to say, "Hoo day, everybody." Take care.